Hello, my dear viewers and subscribers. I am very happy to meet you through one more lesson on climate fiction that will be very interesting and contemporary, as this is going to deal with the water crisis that happened in California, which was depicted in the novel Dry by Neal Shusterman. Shall we go to the lesson today? Before moving to the lesson, let us know that what is climate fiction that is very contemporary, relevant, uh, relevant fiction that we must know that. And what is climate fiction? It is all the climate fiction is also known as sci-fi, and it is a genre of literature which explores the impact of climate change and other environmental issues through a fictional lens. Do you understand what is sci-fi? Sci-fi is a literature which explores the impacts of climate change and other environmental issues like water scarcity, flood, global warming, etc. So it is a genre of literature, sci-fi is a genre of literature that deals with climate change and its consequences as a major theme. And sci-fi can also draw from realism, and even it incorporates dystopian or utopian themes. Here in this novel, Dry, it represents the dystopian theme. And this sci-fi aims to raise awareness about climate change and humanize environmental issues and encourage readers to think critically about their role in shaping the future. That is most important for the writer who presents the one of the crises of sci-fi in his novel Dry. And the works, that means the fictions, range from near future narratives exploring specific environmental disasters to more fantastical stories set in worlds drastically altered by climate change. So let us move into the novel Dry by Neal Shusterman. And here, in this fiction Dry, I have chosen the topic water scarcity and energy crisis in the novel Dry by Neal Shusterman, a responsible innovation perspective. And Neal Shusterman himself states in his writing that sometimes you have to be the monster to survive. That is really truthful when we go through the story of the fiction. Here, how each individual, each human being changed to be unexpected, disastrous creature at the end of the novel. So that is why I have stated this quotation from Neal Shusterman. Sometimes you have to be the monster to survive. Neal Shusterman's Dry is a chilling portrayal of dystopian future. There, water scarcity and energy crisis ravaged the American city, California. Through the lens of responsible innovation, this presentation examines, first one, the interconnectedness or interdependence of water and energy system. Next one, it highlights the catastrophic consequences of neglecting these essential resources. Third one, it illustrates the devastating effects of water scarcity on communities, ecosystem, environment, and individual. Fourthly, it reminds the importance of responsible water management. Fifth one, the characters struggle to access clean water, underscores the need for innovative solutions to address these issues. And next one, the pumps that bring water from the distant river reservoir became useless due to the lack of energy. And we will see in the novel, the story of the novel. The title, The Dry, emphasizes the need for holistic, sustainable solutions which prioritize human well being, environmental stewardship, and social equity. Next one, deploying innovative technologies which could mitigate the water energy issues. Another solution could be policies should be addressed the causes of water energy crisis and the efficient management of these resources. How the solution of these water scarcity and the energy crisis could be possible. First one is water efficient technology. That means low flow appliances could be used and precise irrigation system must be utilized and which could reduce water waste and alleviate scarcity. Next method is renewable energy resources. There should be a transition to solar and wind power, which could decrease the dependence on fossil fuel. And third method, which could solve these problems, are water energy management. That is implementing integrated water energy management systems, which could optimize the use of water and energy, reducing the waste and promoting the efficiency. Fourth solution could be climate resilient infrastructure. Designing and building climate resilient infrastructure such as water storage, rainwater harvesting system, green roofs, greenhouses, drip irrigation, that could be possible to avoid such drastic situations. So, through the lens of Cli-Fi, this novel is analyzed. Let us move on to the story of Dry. That is very interesting one. Let us move on to the screen. Yes. Water scarcity and energy crisis are critical global challenges. Yes, we know that. So the government and the world, they are trying all the possible ways to how it could be stopped. And this novel is an awareness. We could see that awareness about water scarcity and energy crisis. So Neal Shusterman's Dry depicts the dystopian California facing extreme water shortages. The themes of the novel is water scarcity, energy crisis, and sustainability. And the novel explores the real world implications. And this is the poster I have presented here. If you look at, you may know the introduction, key themes, and energy water nexus, and how we could be responsible in water management, and what kind of policy and the policy and practice could avoid such situations. So everything is presented in this slide. So in the introduction, I have given you that This novel presents dystopian scenario of extreme water scarcity, and then it highlights ethical and practical challenges in resource management, and it examines sustainable solution and real-world implications. Key themes are governmental failure in propagating all the schemes, practicing all the schemes and the plans, and survivalism. So, how people fight to survival. So, how they um, became a monster in order to protect themselves. And third one, corporate opportunism and crisis, scarcity, and innovation. So, what are the responsible innovation? First one is sustainability. There should be a long-term water conservation policies, and then addressing inequalities in water distribution, and that should be avoid that the water distribution must be equal. There should not be any inequalities in the distribution of water resource or any other resources in the world. And technological solutions. Advancement in desalination and purification could be carried out to avoid such situations. And what are the policies which could prevent these kind of issues? First one, stronger regulatory frameworks for sustainable water use and public awareness campaigns could avoid these kind of drastic destructive situations, and incentives for business to adopt responsible water management. So in these three ways, it could be avoided. So the thematic analysis, that is, the dry novel portrays the chaos of an unprepared society facing an extreme drought. And it examines the interconnectedness of water and energy. And we have seen all those in the poster itself. Let us move on to the next screen, next slide. These also I have explained in the poster itself. You please go through it, and how we must be as human being, how we could be responsible to avoid such situations, chaotic situations. So policies and societal implications here. And then, so let us move into the story now. Neal Shusterman is an American writer of young adult fiction. And this novel was a best-selling co-author of Gerard Shusterman, who is his brother, and which this novel is adapted into a major Hollywood film with the National Book Award winner Neal Shusterman. The characters, we must know the characters of the novel: Eliza Morrow, Garrett Morrow, Mrs. Morrow, and Mr. Morrow. Eliza Morrow is the protagonist of the novel. She is only 16 years old, a junior in high school. She proves to be responsible, resourceful, and a natural leader. She becomes the leader of her group, which consists of Garrett, her brother, and Kelton, her neighbor, Jacques, and Henry. And Garrett Morrow, that is Eliza's brother, who is just 10 years old, her younger brother, and he represents that how people are careless, immature, unconcerned about the situations. And later he develops into a responsible guy. And then Mrs. Morrow, that is mom of Eliza and Garrett, and she is a very compassionate person, shares their water with the neighbors. During the tap out, she tries to remain optimistic about the dwindling water supply. And Mr. Morrow, the dad of Garrett and Eliza, and father of Garrett and Eliza. He works as an insurance salesman, and he was portrayed as a tough and pragmatic person. And he does not become angry at his son when Garrett accidentally spoils their water supply with bleach. And next character is Herb Morrow, who is uncle of Eliza and Garrett's. And neighbor is Kelton. Kelton is skinny and red-headed next door neighbor of Eliza. And Kelton's father is Richard, and Marybeth is Kelton's mother. And these family, the neighbors' family of Eliza, Kelton, Richard, and Marybeth, they are prepared. That is, they prepare for this tap out situations, a natural calamitic situation of any kind, they are well prepared. And Jackie is the main character, one of the main characters of the novel, alongside of Eliza, Garrett, and Kelton. She is a teenage drifter with no permanent home, and she's a independent girl who possesses the strongest survival skills, and she helps the group to escape the tap out situations. And then we will move on to the story, very brief story of this novel. A drought known as the tap out leaves the entire California with severely decreased water supply. The teenage Elisa and her 10-year-old brother Garrett, Uncle Basil, they all go to Costco to buy bottled water, and they notice the tension between among the people. The cases of water are already gone, and Alisa comes up with a clever idea that she bought a cart full of bagged ice that could be melted for water. And Alisa's next door neighbor is Kelton. He is a survivalist geek. His parents are always prepared for apocalypse. They are well guarded home. Excuse me. But they are not ready to share their resources with others. Kelton's father is not at all sympathetic towards people who are unprepared for this tap out crisis. Day by day, the situation worsens, and tragedy strikes at Alisa's house when Garrett, her brother, accidentally pours bleach into the bathtub full of drinkable water they had been hoarding. Afraid of his parents' disappointment, Garrett runs away from home on his bike. He is just a 10-year-old. Just imagine that he went away from home, afraid of his parents' treatment. Eliza's parents also go to look for him. Eliza borrows a bike from Kelton, and all of them go in search of Garrett. And they find Garrett in an abandoned house where one of his friends once lived. The friend had owned a giant fish tank. Now it had been smashed by thieves who tried to get water from the fish tank. You just imagine how cruel the situation is. At Kelton's house, there is a tension between his parents that his mother wants to share their water with needy neighbors, but his father thinks they will only have enough to keep themselves alive. But the power in the neighborhood turns off completely. So, in the crisis of water, now the power crisis also joined. So soon out of that, the power in the neighborhood also turns off completely. And with Alisa's parents gone to the beach to get water from a desalination station, where what happens was the desalination station was totally destroyed by the mob, and they cannot identify even the single machinery of desalination center. So they return. So Alisa sees some teenagers beating up an old man who won't give them keys to his BMW, where he has hidden water bottle. So the BMW car, he has hidden a water bottle, and yeah, the old man was beaten black and blue by the teenagers who wanted the water bottle from the car. Aliza intervenes this this issue, this attack, and he saved the old man from the teenagers. And Kelton produces a handgun and threatens him. Kelton can't bring himself to use the gun. So he threatens. So Kelton also joined with Aliza in search of water and to be away from the water crisis. So he came to the rescue of Aliza, and he threatens the teenagers with a gun. And then what happened? In the middle of the night, the McCrackens hear someone at the door. When the door opens, McCracken thought that is Kelton's father. So he thought that some people who knocked the door to get water. So accidentally he shot. And then later he realized that it was none other than his oldest son, Brady. At the same time, the desperate neighbors breach McCracken's outer fence, and they try to intrude the house to steal their water. And here we must notice that so the water crisis went to the extent of killing his own son without realizing that who that should be. So at the same time, the neighbors also try to intrude their house to steal the water. So Aliza knocks Kelton unconscious before he starts shooting his neighbors in a fit of anger. And then all together, that is Aliza, Garrett, Kelton, all together, they got a vehicle, and they drive to a wealthy suburb to find Uncle Basil to get his help to be away from these issues. And they discover that he and his uncle's ex-girlfriend have been drinking contaminated water from the suburbs well. Uncle Basil now has dysentery. He cannot help them. Uncle Basil tells them he gave the truck to a wealthy teenager named Henry in exchange for the bottled water. So the five kids drive through dry riverbeds to reach the Angels National Forest where McCracken's bug out is. So they find a place where they could settle with water, and McCracken already planned for that place. So they all try to reach that place. So the kids rest and leave the camp next day, listening to the radio reports about increasingly frequent forest fires. So we came across in the beginning of the novel about the water crisis. Later, the power also has gone off everywhere. Now, in addition to that, they heard through the radio that frequent forest fires in this area. At last, they arrive at Bug Out, but they see that there is no food and water. It has been consumed by Gilton's older brother Brady, who must have run away from his house and settled in that Bug Out for a long time. So, what they expected, they didn't find. And now they realize Henry, another character who is a teenager who also joined with them. They realize Henry has been lying to them all along so that they would keep him with them. So he said that he has a bottle of water, but he deceived everyone. But it is nothing in his car. They tie his hands and exclude him from decision making. And then what happens next? Garrett, as a small boy, he faints from exhaustion And Aliza knows he is near death. So they are crossing through the forest, and because of the uh, fire, smoke, fumes, Garrett faints from exhaustion, and Aliza knows that he is near death. And Aliza, Kelton, and Jackie go back to the men's camp to retrieve the water, but find their campfire has expanded and burning their cooler full of water. And Kelton accidentally damages the gas tank of the truck with his poor driving, so the four kids must walk 1 mile to reach the reservoir. And the vehicle also destroyed by the poor driving of Kelton, so they have to walk to reach the reservoir. A fire appears in front of them, having spread from the men's campfire. Instead of running around the fire, Jackie runs right through it and trying to get to the reservoir. And at last, what happened to these little kids? Teenager guys, Eliza, Kelton, Garrett begin to walk uphill around the fire, which only keeps growing and getting hotter and hotter. Kelton nearly collapses, but Alisa refuses to let him rest. When they reach the top of the ridge, Alisa sees that there is no downhill slope, just a cliff face, no other way. They have to jump down, and there is no way of escape. They are trapped with the wildfire coming toward them. Alisa realizes that her little brother may burn alive if she doesn't shoot him first. So she cannot bear her brother Garrett, who was dying because of the fire and the hot temperature and without water. So she thought that she could kill her brother in front of his eyes. It is better to see him, he was dying. So it is unbearable sight. So at that time, they all suddenly heard a helicopter overhead. It is a firefighting helicopter which dumps a load of water on all three kids, Alyssa, Garrett. They drink up the water as the water falls from the helicopter. But Kelton has passed out and can't drink. Alyssa fills up her mouth with water and brings it to him little by little. The kids see the helicopter heading to the reservoir for a fresh load of firefighting water, which gives them hope. So the appearance of the helicopter loaded with water gives them a hope that they could survive. So the helicopter fetch water from the nearby reservoir, and there is a way for them to escape. So this is how the story ends. So how the situation became very horrible. So they fight for survival. They kill each other for survival. That is for a small amount of water. And so the environmental issues here in this novel focused is first one, it starts with water scarcity, and next power off, next forest fire, and all could be mitigated solved by the water in the reservoir. So this is how the novel ends. So here, this novel is the novel ends with the hope that it is a cautionary tale about the catastrophic consequences which could happen anywhere in the world due to the negligence of water and energy resources, promoting sustainable, equitable future to all. So that's what Neal Shusterman tries to say through this novel, Dry. So first one, it is a cautionary tale which could bring awareness to the public about the conservation of the natural resources, how it is efficient and important for everyone's life, not only for the human beings, but for the entire species in the world. So, with this one, let me conclude my lecture today. I hope that this will be useful uh, for your test or exam, or for your better understanding of the novel dry in the lens of Cli-Fi. Thank you for watching my Lit Ladybug channel. I will meet you in the next lesson. Thank you.